Hi everyone, my name is Steve Gaynor and I'm the Community Coordinator for socialbizug.org, and I am delighted today to have with me Mr. Andy Higgins. Andy, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Stephen. Nice to be here.
And good to see you. Before I get into the interview proper, do you mind me asking where are you located physically? I just always like to know.
Physically, I am located on a bouncy ball. I found, I want to show you this. This is a great thing. I've sat on this for 8 years, and I have no back problems.
We actually have a couple of people here at work that use those.
And they're $15. If you go to relax the back, you can buy a chair that simulates the same effect, and it's $800. But for $15, you can buy a bouncy ball from the sports store. Yeah. Anyway, enough said. I am bouncing on my ball in my personal office down here in downtown Dripping Springs, which is a small suburb of Austin. It's actually become a suburb in the last 10 years. It used to be a little town about 15 miles southwest of Austin. Now it's pretty much a suburb.
Gotcha. Stupid question. Austin, Texas, right?
I'm sorry, yes. Austin, Texas, USA. For our international viewers.
Well, with the accent there, I didn't know.
Well, I always tell people, they say, where are you from? I say, Texas. Oh, come on. Well, I actually live in Austin, just outside, and we have little community there where we have a weird accent.
Well, that's, here in the Boston area, I like to tell people I'm from South Boston. So I'm originally from West Virginia. So.
Well, I was going to say you have a bit of a southerly accent, yeah.
Yeah, I'm an old hillbilly.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right, so let's get the show on the road. So, Andy, can you, to start with, can you give me your elevator resume? What do you do? Who do you work for? If you can tell me, basic job description.
Okay, yeah. Well, I've been an independent consultant since 2009 after leaving IBM at that point. My company's called IM Collaboration, and the IM was originally meant to stand for Instant Messaging because I'd been doing a lot of instant messaging, same time installations at the time. But, the whole collaboration, instant messaging, just integration type of area is what I'm involved with. I've been involved for 25 years with email systems, integrating, coexisting, migrating from one to the other. And I migrated, if you may, over to do instant messaging, migrations, and now I'm concentrating mainly on moving people to the cloud, because IBM don't like to call it a migration, and neither probably do Microsoft or anybody, but there's as much work as there is in a migration in some cases to move people to the cloud, but it's not really a migration because you're moving to a very similar system, so there shouldn't be the same data issues. But that's what I help users do, move to the cloud right now.
Got you. And thanks for elaborating. I was going to ask you, why isn't it a migration?
Yeah, I'm sorry, it wasn't exactly an elevator pitch, unless I was in the Empire State Building. That was quite a long. I struggle myself with being able to get out what I do in 2 sentences. It's sort of tough. So one of the best things is move people to the cloud. Now, to your question, just could you repeat that?
You say it's technically not a migration.
Yeah.
And so why not?
It's not a migration because I know the fact that IBM systems they're Domino servers in the back end using NSF files. So it's the same as far as mail is concerned with IBM. It's pretty much the same stuff. They do it slightly different. Their directory functionality is different. They have, they have a way of taking the data and cleaning it before you put it out in the web, you put it out in the cloud. But it's ostensibly the same systems behind it. The same with same time. It's a multi-tenancy same time server out there, probably with a little bit of difference on the back end with the directory stuff. And the same with the collaboration. The connections product, which is out in the cloud, is basically the same product as the stuff you do on-premise. So, I mean, the point being is if you take on-premise IBM data and move it to the IBM cloud, it's a move. It's not, let's take all the data in, suck it in, manipulate it, and push it out in a PST type file or whatever, like what you have to do with Microsoft. Or actually, that's not technically correct what you do with Microsoft, but it's not like moving to Microsoft and vice versa, or going to Google or wherever you want to do. That's a migration, moving from one type of system to another, IBM to Google, Google to Microsoft, whatever.
Oh, I see. So, so since it's really IBM to IBM.
Yes.
I gotcha. All right.
So, and it's, as I say, it's not as simple as you'd imagine, because moving from IBM, if you had two Domino servers and you move a mail file from one to another, that's a simple thing to do. It's the same with, it's the same all over, but it's a slightly more complicated solution, moving it to the web. Oh, cloud. I keep on saying web. I should say cloud.
The cloud.
The cloud, the Internet of Things. Whatever the heck that is. I say, don't you just think sometimes you just make up buzzwords just so they can set up another company? We specialize in the Internet of Things. That's what I mean. That could be my buzzword. I specialize in the Internet of Things, the IoT. And nobody knows what it is. So they're like, oh, cool, man. Well, we better hire him because he knows what he's talking about. Because he can say a buzzword. I'm sorry.
Wow, I wonder if I can make that work.
Hey, there's companies all over. Then they float it. They get venture capital in, and then they fire it up and they sell it for $1 billion to Facebook, who realize, what did we just buy? Are we going to fit that in? Are we going to integrate that in? Oh well. Sorry.
That's awesome. Okay. Could you describe for me a recent challenge that you had and how you overcame it?
Yeah, I was thinking about this. I don't know. I get challenges every day. I'd like to talk about one of my biggest challenges is just getting stuff done. And in today's world where there's like 1 billion things to do, and I'll tell you, the way I get things done is I write lists, and I use a wonderful product called Evernote.
Oh yes, I have that.
I love it because it synchronizes to my iPhone and my iPad, and I can make little notes, and it synchronizes without me even telling them. It's sort of like what Lotus Notes should have been. a lightweight client up front, synchronizing between lots of devices. It's wonderful. I even have the free version. I don't even pay for it. I don't know what I get if I pay for it, but that really does. If I tell myself during a week, I put a list of things what to do, and I stick to that list. That's the other thing. You got to stick to the list. Yep. Because there's all this other stuff coming in, like people, oh, do you want to go on an interview for WizPubs or whatever? Sorry. No, but that's the way you got to handle it. And yeah, speaking for my brain, the way my brain works. Otherwise, I get nothing done. I go round and round in circles, and you get nothing. At the end of the day, you say, "What did I do today?" So write it all down. Allocate blocks of an hour or whatever to do these things, and get stuff done. And that's the way to do it. Anyway, so that's
that's awesome. I'm right there with it, and I use Evernote too. I agree with you. Evernote is very. It's one of those programs. I love things that are simple and work, and it's simple and it works.
You're absolutely right. I think it's a great tool that can be used. I'm not sure about if it would be enterprise ready, or it's just something you could push out to all your users in an enterprise and just let them use it if they wanted to, sort of like Notepad on Windows, the ever-present Notepad that people use, and they never did anything more than just have it as a little textual notepad. This is Notepad on steroids. It's wonderful, and I don't think they can take it any further, but it works as it is, and it's a super product, and it actually...
I actually use mine a lot. I have it syncing with my my desktop here at work, because for me it's easier to type on an actual keyboard. And so I'll type a bunch of stuff up, and then I can just grab my tablet, and there it is.
Yeah.
with wherever I'm going.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Go on.
So in one of your latest blog posts, let's see, it was entitled "The Approach for Moving to the Cloud," and one of the first things you mention is you need to do an infrastructure assessment, and you even underlined it.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that a bit? What all goes into an infrastructure assessment?
Okay. So anybody can do an infrastructure assessment. You don't need a consultant like myself to do one, but it helps because an external consultant typically brings in external knowledge. They've been to other places so that they know all the right questions to ask. Okay? Now, another thing about an infrastructure assessment is essentially documenting your current environment. And as we know, documentation is tough to keep up with. It's tough to do. It's the last thing people do. So, if you're gonna look at moving to the cloud, which is what I said, you don't have to move to the cloud, but if you're looking at using the cloud for the various economies that the cloud brings, i.e., cost economy to your business, it's well worth knowing where to put it rather than just going in and saying, "Oh, I'm going to buy a bunch of this." A salesman would love you to do that, I'm sure, but I'm going to buy seats for everybody and we're just going to throw it out there. And it's the same old with the technology. You throw all the technology out there, it's all there, and people don't know what to do with it. So you need to figure out what you've got, and then you take a look at it. An infrastructure assessment, where all your servers are, particularly your mail servers, your instant messaging, your collaboration stuff people, even applications. If you want to get into that, that's a big area. So let's touch just mail, instant messaging, and basic collaboration, like if you had some SharePoint or you had connections, because I got a tool that will move SharePoint to connections if you need it. So
Really?
yes, yeah. So we can. The idea is the cloud can bring you, as I say, economies of scale and cost. If you want to move all your SharePoint stuff, all your data on your connections, all these quick place, stuff like that, you want to move it to one place and you want to put it on the cloud because you feel it's secure enough, then go ahead. It's cheap on IBM doing Connections Cloud. Get a tool, pay the money, get the stuff, organize it, and move it up there, and then you start reaping the benefits. And that's why you need the infrastructure assessment beforehand, because you got to figure out what you got before you do it. That's basically it. You got to figure out what you got, and most companies, in my experience, do not know what they have.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, they have a basic idea. Yeah, we got Lotus Notes, or we got Microsoft Exchange, or whatever, but they don't know how it's set up, the infrastructure documentation. The guy who set it all up has left. He's off in another company. Nobody knows how it's set up. That's what I'm saying. You need to do an assessment beforehand.
All right, I got it. I understand now. I'm far smaller scale, but I just recently had one of the higher ups at my company come to me and says, I don't know where I'm going to get it. I need this list of people. And I looked at him and I went, that's a domino database. We've had it for 10 years. Yeah. So, yeah. All right, so now I was recently talking to a friend of mine who had just completed a migration. And he mentioned that one sticking point was migrating the instant message buddy list. Now, I understand that you might have a solution for this. Can you tell me about it?
Well, funny you ask. Yes. I saw that as a hole in the marketplace several years ago, actually, and I was doing some work for a large drink company, and they were moving their instant messaging from one place to another, and there are no ways of manipulating buddy lists in general in the migration. Now, it's interesting to say it's because of the fact that most companies, IBM, Microsoft included, don't know about Google, don't like people having administrative access to the cloud as much. So getting your buddy lists and migrating them up onto the cloud infrastructure is actually, it's something that they don't provide. neither Microsoft or IBM provide a tool to move your buddy lists. They probably thought, who wants to do that? But it's a big deal for some customers. Some customers live out their buddy lists. They have the users. And to be quite honest, rebuilding your buddy list takes time. And if you can buy a tool that's like $1 a user, why wouldn't you use that? That's all I'm saying, and that's all. I mean, not to be shamelessly to be a shameless marketer. That's all it costs. Yeah, you move people over from one place to another. Same time, for example, we can move same time buddy lists from an on-prem same time up to the cloud. We can now move link buddy lists from on-prem link up to the cloud. We can move from same time to same time, i.e. 2 on-premise systems if that's the way you want to do it. And we're looking for other opportunities because the product is modularized. So if you wanted to move from Google Hangouts, for example, to same time in the cloud, we can do it. We've got the published APIs. The APIs are published. The database layouts are published. We just need to put it into our program. We can pull that out and we can get that turned around in a few days. So any type of migration from buddy list to buddy list is what we do with that product. Thank you for asking.
Oh, not at all. No, that's really interesting. I have to admit, it's an area I don't know a great deal about. So yeah, I find that very interesting. That's really cool.
I'm sorry, I just continue. I mean, it's a very specialized version of moving data from one place to another. And as I say, I've done this for many, many years, 20 plus years, moving data from one place to another and migrating it. Basically, you pull it in, you manipulate it, you push it out. That's how I did Exchange migrations to Lotus Domino. You use tools to do that. I have the tool to move from whatever you want into connections. There's tooling available for just about anything you need to do. You just need somebody who knows how to use the tool, and you can move data from one place to another. And as I say, that's what I've done for a long time. And email migrations were really the first big place where that took place. Because believe it or not, 20 years ago, there were 20 plus different email systems. There was even an email system called Higgins email. I have nothing to do with, but I know of it. I never came across it, but I'd heard about it. So, but nobody uses it anymore.
All right, I'm looking at the time, and we are drawing close. So, the time has come. This is the most important question of the interview. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. What is your favorite movie and why?
Oh, well, it's a good question. I tell you, there's so many good movies out there. There's more bad movies than there are good movies, but there's so many good movies out there. I have to say, right off the top of my head, I'll go for Lawrence of Arabia. Absolute classic. I watched it the other day with my kids. It was made in the 60s sometime. It's just unbelievable. They remastered the thing. In places, it's a little old-fashioned. But my kids, they're 17-year-old high schoolers, and they watched it from beginning to end over 3 hours, and they were entranced. And a movie that stands the test of time, that's probably a number one, if you've watched, I've watched some of the 70s movies, and some of them that, you watch them, good Lord, did I think that was a good movie? But that movie stands the test of time, and not only does it shows what, it describes this great guy who did amazing things, bringing together a whole nation of Arabs, and got them all together because of all their petty squabbles. It just goes to show you how much things repeat in history. Let's not get into a political situation or talk, but I think it's got so many different angles, and it's just phenomenally filmed. So yeah, it's probably one of my all-time greats.
Excellent choice. The only thing I have to disagree with you a little bit, not on the movie choice. The state of movies currently disappoints me a great deal. I find it sad that the best movies that are coming out are the animated ones. Despicable Me 2 and Minions. I mean,
Right.
those are brilliant movies, and in
Well, they're entertainment. They're pure entertainment. That's what those are.
yeah,
And they can get away with that. They're entertainment. Yeah, they spend too much money on the special effects of the people movies, and because that's what people want nowadays, supposedly.
apparently.
Like that remake of Mad Max, man. It was just like it's like information overload or sensory overload. But there are good movies around. You know what I do? And this is something I've done for a long time. I'll go to the Oscar page and I'll look at all the foreign movies that made it to the top 10 and I'll watch them all. I tell you, you can't beat that. If they can choose 10 movies from the whole rest of the world, right, that's like not American, right? Because America actually is a country in a world, right? There's a world out there that has all these other people who live there who have different ideas and different aspirations, and they make movies too. And sorry.
No.
I watched a movie which was somewhat dark the other day called, what was that called? Forget that. Oh, Bullhead. I wouldn't totally recommend the movie. It was a little dark. It was a Belgian movie. Interested the heck out of me because it was all about these crazy Belgians who speak this funky Dutch dialect. I'm a little bit of a linguist. I used to live in Switzerland. I speak German and French to a degree, and I could understand some of what was going on. But then half of Belgium is French as well, and it was interesting in the whole movie to see the relationship between the French Belgians, who are called Walloons, which is a somewhat unfortunate name, and the Dutch Belgians, or probably wouldn't like to be called Dutch Belgians, but the Belgians who speak the funky, gravelly throat language that they call, I don't know what they call it, but very interesting movie, very disturbing. I don't know if anybody ever read the book The Wasp Factory by Ian Banks, celebrated British Scottish author. It's sort of along those lines. It's a darn good movie, and I think it got Academy nominated. It didn't win, but anything like that. Good one is Life is Beautiful. Remember that movie?
Yes.
With Benito, what's his name? Benini. Benini, yeah.
Yep.
When I saw his movie, I watched that. I was so impressed. I watched a bunch of his other movies, Italian movies. Some of them are just pure slapstick, but there's a couple of really good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I could go on, but
oh, I could too.
Run Lola Run. Did you ever see Run Lola Run?
Oh yes, I haven't seen that in a while, but yeah.
There are movies out there that come to the fore. I don't know. They're just phenomenal, these foreign movies, and I always watch them in original language with subtitles. I hate when you get a German movie and it's dubbed with American actors' voices. It doesn't sound real. I having lived over there and been over there, when a German opens their mouth and they go, "Hey, how you doing?" You know, it just does not go there. They've got to go, "Ja, ja, wie geht's dir?" Yeah. Say stuff like that, and then it says down the bottom, "How are you?" Yeah.
Right.
It's got to be that way around. I'm sorry.
Andy, I could talk movies all day. I'm afraid I'm out of time.
Okay.
I want to thank you very, very much for taking the time to speak with us today. And everyone out there, if you haven't checked out Andy's blog, please do so on the site. It's very, very interesting, and he's got some really great things to say. So that will do it for everyone. I hope to see you on the site. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Stephen. Bye-bye now.